So good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Helena Nat. I'm the Executive Director for the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. You can tell I am so excited for this. I am pumped. I am happy. I've got a smile on my face because we have Craig Siegel here. And you know what he has done? I think this is his third third presentation doing this. Huge support. People are just emailing me afterwards saying how motivated they are to get their business going, to grow their business, and to implement what he says, which are things that in the back of your head, but you just don't do on a regular basis. And when you do it on a regular basis, it takes you to a different level. So I don't want to speak for Craig, but he is a global keynote, and he's going to talk to us today on how to have a positive mindset related to business goals. And I'm all about business. You know me, Greater New York Chamber, we're here to help grow your business. But when everyone achieves business goals, everyone flourishes. And when everyone flourishes, the economy grows, you hire people, you go back, you give back to your, local community. And that's what it's all about. So right now, for those who are joining us, we will be monitoring the chat. Put your questions in the chat, and Craig is very interactive with this. And also it is being recorded, so we will have it on Chamber TV. So I am just gonna, sit back, relax, and let's enjoy this. Craig, take it away.
Yes, what an unbelievable introduction. Thank you so much. I love you guys. I love you. Always grateful and excited to come here and hopefully drop some really meaningful nuggets that change some lives today, or at least enhance them. All right, guys. So as she was saying, I am very interactive. I want you all to know right now that this is not going to be a typical keynote speech. This is going to be an experience. I'm going to challenge some of you. We're all going to get involved, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And I encourage you guys to participate. That's what it's all about. If that's cool with you and you're with me so far, let me see you write "I dig" in the chats, if you'd be so kind. Helena knew it was coming. Okay. All right, great. All right, I'm going to give you guys a 2-second background on me in case some of you are not familiar, just so I can give you guys some context. I spent 13 years on Wall Street. I was making a lot of money, which at that season of my life, I attributed to being successful. I was a little bit more immature and unenlightened. As it turns out, a few years ago, I found myself in a very dark season. I had just got out of a toxic relationship. My best friend, my dad, had gotten diagnosed with cancer. And even though I had my own business, I wasn't exactly putting a dent in the universe. And so I was probably drinking more than I'd like to admit, and just not in a good place mentally. Talk about divine intervention. I don't know if I stumbled upon running or running found me, but I started running a bunch of marathons, and boy, did I need that. I started to cultivate confidence, right? I could do hard things. I started to find myself again. And I was on my way, but I was still stuck at my job, even though it was my own business. Fast forward the pandemic, bang, talk about a global awakening. I just said to myself, if not now, then when? And I did this eulogy exercise, and this is going to trigger some of you, hopefully in a good way, where I made it very real for myself. If this was it for me 2 weeks from now, people gather around at my funeral, what would they say? What kind of real lasting impact, legacy did I leave? And the answer was I was underachieving. And so this was a real rude awakening for me in the best way. And so I put together a strategy that I learned from personal development. And it was like, well, what do I love? Personal development, I'm obsessed with it. What am I good at? Humbly, I can communicate pretty effectively. I married those two. The very next day in Iran, I got a spiritual creative divine download. I started my CLS brand, Cultivate Lasting Symphony. Why the word symphony? Because I'm a strange cat and I always like that word. It's also a play on my initials, Craig Landon Siegel. And I started putting out content. I didn't want to be Tony Robbins. I want to be the first Craig Siegel. You never know how something like this will pan out, but the cost of inaction was way too high. And I actually said I'd rather die than go back and choose to be miserable. So I took my shot. Universe like that. Over the last 2 years, the brand's exploded. We have one of the top entrepreneurial podcasts on the planet, sponsored by Mark Cuban, speaking all over the world. We're just in Portugal in front of 80,000. just handed in the manuscript for a record book deal, all the things, coaching, community, all that stuff. Sold the business on Wall Street. And this is it for me in some capacity for the rest of my life. And we're just getting warmed up. And one of the reasons why I wanted to tell that story and give you guys some context is because the cost of inaction, that's right, Kenzie. The reason why that was so valuable for me is because I finally cultivated a very meaningful why, right? And when you have a very strong why, business, career, and life, you don't have to worry so much about the how. I'd love for you guys to write in the chat right now, just a yes or a no, and let's be vulnerable. Who here has a very strong why? I love that, Wayne. Okay, good. Most of you do. It's fantastic. No. Okay, I love the vulnerability. All right, and guys, as we always do, we're going to do a giveaway just to keep you guys even more engaged. We have a free daily texting community with inspirational nuggets. Whoever gets the best takeaway from today's call and text the giveaway, text the takeaway. I love what you said about this to this number. We're going to send you something really special. A custom one-of-one brand new CLS journal, baby. Journals will change your life. We'll get into that as well. All you got to do is text a number. It should be on the list anyway. It's just free inspiration throughout the week. All right. Some of you said no, that you don't have a strong why. I'm going to tell you why it's so important and how this is going to elevate your business success, right? And also, let's just be honest about this, right? Okay. Who here, and guys, be very honest right now. Who here honestly believes that they are here for much more than they are currently doing? Okay, love that, Helena. Yes. First of all, I want to acknowledge you guys. I'm loving the transparency and vulnerability right now. This chat is lit. All right, good. That was me 2 years ago for the previous 35 years. And the best part is I'm going to teach you guys how to get in total alignment and have a lit soul. And when you're able to get to that point and that frequency, don't be surprised how quickly everything begins to happen, manifestations and all that stuff. All right. So imagine this, right? Imagine you get to the end of your life and you're presented with a highlight reel of all the things that you could have done, filling you up with massive regret and anxiety. Now, I don't know about you, but that's my biggest fear, is to not give this beautiful gift that is life everything we got. So now that you have that painful visual, we're going to make sure that when we get to the end and we see that highlight reel, it's a reality of all the things that we did do, because we really lived it up, made an impact, contributed, had a lot of fun, and unapologetically made a ton of money doing so. Love that, Crystal. And Burton, you guys are on fire. All right, guys, let's dive in. If somebody asked me to walk from Manhattan to Philadelphia, right, for $1,000, I'm going to say not really interested, right? Because I could think of better things to do with my time. And obviously we get paid significantly more an hour than that. So I'm just not that interested. But if somebody said to me, start walking from Manhattan to Philly, and if I don't, I may not ever see my fiance again, Alessia, who's on this call right now. Let's give her some love in the chat, Alessia. Now, before you can even finish that sentence, I'm already out the door walking from New York to Philly. Now, did the distance change? No. But the $1,000 is not a strong why for me. But to save my fiance or to make sure I see her again, that is a strong why for me. So that's the power of having a very strong why. And when you have a very strong why, you're inspired, inspirited, on fire. You're available for downloads, for suggestions, to be resourceful. right? So you're on purpose, if you will. Hell yeah, Karen. Love that. Joe. Great one. All right. So, like for me, guys, I remember 2 years ago or right before I started CLS, I would wake up with anxiety. And I'd love to see if any of you feel that way. And the reason being is because I wasn't in alignment, right? So every day I woke up, I was immediately triggered by the potential emotions I was going to feel throughout that day. Crappy job, toxic teammates, in debt, toxic relationship, all that stuff. Now I sleep like a baby. And here's the difference. At night, from my previous life, 2.5 years ago, at the end of the day, I was depleted and diminished. Now with CLS in this new life, at the end of the day, I'm exhausted because of a job well done, because I'm going in right now. I'm in that season of grind, right? Because it's all still relatively new and it's exploding and I'm so excited about it, but I sleep like a baby and I can't wait to replenish and go at it again, right? So if you're waking up with any type of anxiety, guys and girls, that's an indication, right, that we're not in congruency with our soul's purpose or why we're here or fulfilling our assignment. Okay. So now the question is this all sounds great, Craig, but how do we use this to elevate our business and so forth? Here we go. Okay. In business, but also in life, we get what we tolerate. And I'd love for someone to drop that in the chat. We're getting nuts right now. And guys, I see a bunch of you texting and so forth. Also, if you guys are on social media, which I imagine you should be, because the last time I was in the chamber, we spoke a lot about personal branding. And just a side note, when I started CLS, I had no following, no connections, no network. I was just, I had a success, but I stepped into this and that was the real catapult that made me worldwide. And I was able to generate so much more business and extend my reach. So the point is if any of you take a screenshot of this call right now and post it on Instagram or Facebook and tag me, I will restory every single one. And the reason why that's good is because then my whole audience of 100,000 plus will now see you. And usually when something like that happens, good business comes from it. I always do this in my community. So take a screenshot, post it. I'll restory every single one and something good will happen to it. You with me so far? Let me see, right? I dig in the chats. Yes, I'm on LinkedIn, Karen. Karen's on fire, by the way. She's the early MVP. All right. So in life, we get what we tolerate, right? So here's an example. The most successful people that I know, and I've interviewed some of the world's greatest on the podcast, CLS Experience, they don't have the highest goals. What they do have is the highest standards, right? So for example, and this is going to hit home for some of you. Let's just say person A says, my goal is to make $1 million this year. Great. Person B comes in and they say, the absolute minimum that I can make is 1 million this year. Person B visualizes that the money is already theirs, and anything less than that 1 million is actually like they're losing something they own. Do you guys see how powerful that is? The words that we say to ourselves and the stories that we replay can change the course of our life. One person says, I want to make $1 million. The other person says the absolute minimum that I'm going to make this year is $1 million. You're already assuming that it's done. You're already grateful for it. It's done. Time just hasn't caught up yet, right? So that's a standard that you hold yourself to. So let me give you guys a live example. We're working really, really hard right now, but it's not work to me. I love this. Like, I love being here with you guys. This isn't work. But we just handed in a manuscript. We got a record first-time book deal with Wiley Publishing, one of the major publishers. And right now we're in the editing phase. I don't know if any of you guys ever wrote a book, but when you get to this phase, it's really crazy. It's back and forth. It's go time. There's some edits. You have to send it back. There's aggressive timelines. So I'm working. And also we have some huge guests on the podcast this week. Just a lot of things going on. Yesterday, I woke up and I was a little tired, if I'm being honest. just like my body, like I've been going in this week. I also work out every single day. A lot going on. So for a second, emotionally, I was like, oh, I'm tired. I don't want to get out of bed right now when my alarm goes off at 4:30 in the morning. But great job, Burton. I'll connect with you after. But my standard was that if I want to become the person that I desire, right? The best fiance, the best son, the best brother, the best at personal development, the apple of personal development, which was my mission statement, to help the most amount of people that I can, then it doesn't matter if I'm a little tired this morning, because my standards say that I need to get up and kick some butt and get the day going and get an edge. So I got up. But here's the thing. When it comes to this, like business stuff, amateurs respond to their feelings. So when their alarm goes off early in the morning, they're like, oh, I'm going to hit snooze. Professionals, juggernauts, like you say, they revert back to their standards, right? Because when you set your alarm the day before, you had this vision that you were going to get up, kick some butt, and do all these things. So even when you wake up the next day, it doesn't matter if you're a little tired, you'll sleep tonight. Your standards tell you that I made a commitment. I'm not just interested. I'm committed. I'm all in to this. Standards over feelings. Great one, Alessia. Right? Guys, this is everything. And this will change your life in an instant. And I'm going to give you a tangible exercise. Love that, Crystal. Karen, you guys are on leaves on fire. See a bunch of you texting the texting community too. It's great. All right. So I'm going to give you guys an exercise. For those of you like, wow, how do I think of standards? I love to give you guys something that's applicable and tangible immediately. So if you have a journal, I would journal on this today or tonight or sometime this weekend. Whoever wins the best takeaway, we're going to send you a custom one-of-one journal. I would make a list. And on the top, I would write alter ego and maybe give yourself a nickname. For example, Beyonce, when she's on stage, she channels Sasha Fierce. The late, great Kobe Bryant, when he was in attack mode on the basketball court, he would channel the Black Mamba. Pick your poison, right? I remember when I first got introduced to personal development, I used to model James Bond. So on that list, under your alter ego, I want you to make a list of all the characteristics, habits, traits, rituals, and standards that the best version of you would possess. What time would you wake up? How would you talk? How would you handle meetings? How would you be present and mindful in your relationships? How would your tonality be when you were speaking? All the things, right? So now that you have a tangible list of how the highest version of you would show up in this world, your alter ego, whatever the case may be, every single day that you wake up from here on out, if you guys take nothing from this, but you take this, it's a win. Every day that you wake up, make a commitment to strive to be that version of you, which is the highest version of you possible. And every single day that goes by, as you continue to elevate and expand and be a little bit better version of you, it begins to stack. And then over the course of the next couple of weeks, 2 months, now all of a sudden you have a ton of momentum and you're making massive progress, right? The reason why this is so powerful, guys, is because you're taking some time to work on yourself and actually cultivate a list of how the highest version of you would show up in this world. How maybe you're a mother, a father, a son, whatever the case may be. How would you be mindful in those relationships, business, fitness, right? You want to lose 15 pounds. You want to get in the best shape of your life. It's never too late. I don't care how old you are. What needs to be done? Do you need to eat a little bit better? Maybe eat a little bit longer before you go to bed. Maybe you need to exercise 20 minutes every morning, whatever the case may be. Every day you wake up and you strive to become that person until you do become them. And then now all of a sudden you're the highest version of you that ever existed. And that's when you're magnetic. You start manifesting things. You're high vibe. You're in a good frequency, right? Things are just coming for you, opportunities and so forth. So this is really powerful. And even I need to do this, guys. Like, as I continue to evolve and grow, I start to hold myself to even higher standards. And I write those down. In fact, I have a list right here, in case you guys thought I was kidding. Right? So if I'm ever in a rut or I'm having a moment, and notice how I said moment, it's no longer a week or a day or even 5 hours, it's just a moment. I snap out of it and I'm saying, all right, what am I available for right now? What am I not? I'm not available to be in a rut right now because I have to perform for the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce, get you guys on fire, elevated, right? Okay, well, how do I do that? I revert back to some of my standards that I set. And now this is a neuro-linguistic programming technique, NLP. It helps change the neural pathways. So now all of a sudden I'm operating on the standard of the highest version of me. And now I'm elevated. It's intoxicating. It's contagious. Right, guys? So this is one really cool, fun, and exciting, tangible exercise to start elevating in all areas of life is to do the alter ego exercise. And I'm just curious, for any of you guys that are feeling a little frisky, Frisky Friday, baby, I'd love for you to drop in the chat, and please don't be shy. What are 1 or 2 characteristics that came to mind that you would like to start holding yourself to a higher standard? Let's see them. There's no wrong answer. Maybe it's waking up a little bit earlier, go to bed a little bit earlier, working out a little bit more, making some connections in business. Work out more. Love that, Karen. Thank you for the transparency. Okay, good. More business connections, being on a schedule. Yes. Karen's on fire. Do what you say. Yes, that's the best, Lena. Right? That's how you build confidence and momentum, is to being congruent with what you say and what you do to yourself. Keep the commitments you make to yourself. Love that, Tom. Grow your network. Yes. Love this. Live in, yes, inspired with gratitude, being consistent. Have time for creative work. That's so important. Like, activate that state of joy. Love that, Ken. Put yourself out there, transparent. Could you guys be on any more fire? Trick question. God, this is awesome. You guys are doing great. Love this. All right. So happy that this is registering for you guys. Okay. So now that we have a list of how we can possibly elevate, now you guys, there's no excuses, right? There's no lack of clarity because we just took the time to get some clarity. And now we have an opportunity to become that person. And here's the thing. I feel called to at least say this to you guys today because it's been on my heart. It's not so much, first of all, I want to acknowledge you guys should definitely have big, audacious goals, right? You should have intentions, stuff that you want to do for the year. Maybe it's a great relationship. Maybe it's make $5 million this year. Maybe it's donate $250,000 to charity, whatever the case may be. You should absolutely have big goals. But what I challenge you guys to do, and this is something I really had to work on, it's not so much the big goal as it is who we become in the process, right? Because just backed by human nature, and I was just talking about this on an episode on the CLS Experience podcast that we dropped this week with Tom Bilyeu. Him and his wife sold Quest Nutrition for $1 billion, and we were having a great conversation about this. By human nature, every time you tackle a really big mountain, like a big goal, and you're at that peak, you know what the one thing everybody's thinking about next? I'd love for you guys to guess in the chats. Once you hit a really big goal, or you climb a really big mountain, what do you think the next thought is, just based upon human nature? Let's see what you guys think. Yeah. Helena, I love the synergy between us. And Ken's, you nailed it. Everybody's thinking about that next peak, that next mountain. What can I achieve next? What will they do next? So what does that tell you? It's not so much the goal that brings us all the joy. We have to find joy in the process. Marry the process, divorce the outcome. Somebody write that in the chat. Yes, Crystal. Right? So if that's the case, then we need to be able to find love, joy, and happiness in the process, in the day-to-days, right? People always ask me, like, what are you on? I'm like, you don't get it. I'm high on life. My soul is lit. And one thing I've been able to really get better at, because I acknowledge I need to improve, was that it's not the marathons that I finish. Literally, I run marathons, right? It's the training camps. It's mile 18 when I'm struggling, but I push through anyway. And then when you cross that finish line, it's just a reward. And the same thing with CLS in the business. People are like, how did you explode your brand so quickly? Well, they think it's quick. They don't see me putting in the hours and so forth, but it's because I fell in love with the day-to-days. I don't need to get a touchdown every single day. I need to be able to fall in love with getting first downs, just a little bit here. What can I do, right? And also, yes, Keisha, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. And also, guys, don't be afraid to be a beginner again. Give yourself permission to be less than perfect. I got to tell you, I run a lot, and when I'm not running, I'm working out because that's important to me. I think fitness should be important for everyone because it actually stimulates great ideas. So it's more important for the mental component. I recently just started boxing because I felt like I needed something a little bit new, fresh, and exciting. And I got to tell you, I forgot how much fun it is to be a beginner again. It's challenging. It's humbling, right? I want to get better. And trust me when I tell you, I'm far from good, but I'm much better than I was 10 days ago, right? So what's the message there? Give yourself permission to be less than perfect. Show up messy. And for those of you guys that utilize social media for your business, and if you don't, I highly suggest that you do. I'm sure the replays are still available, but the last time I was here, we talked all about branding. I would check it out, right? Forget about what people think. Put yourself out there. Bring attention to the amazing things that you have going on with your business, how you can help people, right? Give yourself permission to be less than perfect. Show up. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. Hell yeah, Karen. Yep. Yep. You guys are on fire. So I just wanted to say that, guys. It's not so much the goal and the destination as it is who we become in the process, right? So that's how you can cultivate a positive mindset in relation to your business goals, which is what today was supposed to be all about. Fall in love with the process. Be mindful. Be present. Be grateful for some of the things. And if there's certain things that you don't love to do inside the business, if you're in a position to, hire and delegate, right? So this way you can work a little bit less in the business and more on it, and you can stay in your zone of genius. But the bottom line is you got to stay in love with the day-to-day and not so much expectations on the end result. Here's what happens. I know we're going fast here. I'm going to open up for questions in a little bit. When you activate that state of joy now, you're a vibrational match for all the abundance out there. All of it. So many people that I know, so many times, they say, they think they have to get all these things, the money, the relationships, the watch, the house, whatever, to have that lit feeling. I used to be that guy, so I speak from contrast. The reality is the magic is in activating that state of joy and having that lit soul now. And when you're able to be in that state right now, you end up manifesting all those things that you thought you wanted anyway, because it's just an energetic exchange, right? You're a magnet. So we got to activate joy right now. And how do we do that? Is by continuously transforming from reactive to proactive and being very intentional with our thoughts. As I love to say, thoughts are random, thinking is not. So although we may get negative thoughts over the course of the day, there's such power in choosing another thought that serves you. The power of the second thought, right? There's always a silver lining. There's always a different perspective. And when you choose the positive thoughts, you begin to create new beliefs. And then the new beliefs and stories that you're invested in create new habits and behaviors. And that ultimately leads to new results. Let me give you guys an example. And by the way, I want to acknowledge you guys. You are so present today. You're on fire with the chats. This is what I always do with my community. And I just think it's special. It makes it for such a more engaged conversation. So I'm going to give you guys a little story. I was stuck in Wall Street for a very long time, but was I really stuck or did I feel stuck? Right? I was buying into this narrative, this story, and you guys pretty much all acknowledged at the beginning of this call that we're all here for something a little bit more than we're currently doing. So I imagine this is going to hit home. Hell yeah, Karen. And let's take that a step further. Let's begin to select our thoughts every morning, just like we select our clothes. Be intentional. So I was buying into this story that this was it for me in Wall Street. I was making a certain amount of money. The happiness is capped. And I used to see people that were in happy relationships. And I was like, that'll never be me, or it's just smoke and mirrors. When the lockdown happened, pandemic/lockdown, I took a minute to choose a different thought, a different perspective. And I said to myself, is this the only story? Or can I start playing a different movie? Can I change the plot? Can I change the cast of characters inside this movie? And then ultimately it was like, yes, I can. I can do anything I want because I'm resourceful, I'm hardworking. There's a wealth of information out there these days, Google, YouTube. Anything you really want is figure outable, is it not? And so I started believing that I could do anything. And I actually love personal development. And when you love something as much as I love personal development, and we all have something, you can't not monetize it, right? Because as I always like to say, adding value gets you rich. So if you love something, if you have a service or a product or a business and you love it, you're passionate about it, people will pay. How do I get involved? You have a solution to their problem. So the stories in our head are just temporary if we take a second to reframe it and choose a different one. Even like people like in relationships, like I know people that like this was me. When I reinvented myself, it wasn't only my career. I just got engaged. You know, I met my soulmate and so forth last summer. So the point is if you're not loving where you are right now, guys, or if you think you'd be doing better, business, wherever, you can. And it starts with just looking at it a little bit differently and realizing that you have a choice. And trust me when I tell you, it's never too late. Reinvention is not a feeling. It's a decision. You can change it anytime you want. I want you all to know that. All right. One of the things that we said that we're going to talk about today is stacking small wins. Right? We just talked about how you don't have to have a home run or a touchdown every single day. Stacking small wins is a cheat code to accelerate your growth in business. Now, a small win could be going on LinkedIn and making a couple more connections and reaching out. Finding people that you have some alignment with and setting up a 15-minute coffee chat. Because one idea, one thought, one conversation could change everything. A small win could be starting to journal every single day and being very intentional with where you want to take this business. How can you grow it even more? Who do I have to be around? Who's sitting in a position that I'd like to be in? How can I get in a room with people that aren't necessarily better than me, but are a little bit further ahead? How can I go be a sponge? How can I pick them? How can I work with them? How can I hire a coach, a mentor to work on my performance, my mindset, my business? Right, guys? So stacking small wins, you don't always have to get $1 million deal, right? Or get nominated for a Nobel Prize. Those are all great things, but each and every single day, there's something a little bit more that we can do, and they begin to stack. And nobody understand, like, so many people that in my community, like, they want the results now. And I get that, but you wouldn't even appreciate it if you got it so quick anyway, let's be honest. So you got to stack small wins, make connections, meet people, go to the next live chamber event, right? Come to my Instagram, my podcast, totally free. Get some content. Maybe you'll change your perspective. Definitely reach out to people. Form strategic relationships. Read a little bit. Start a passion project. There's so much more that we could be doing. But don't underestimate the power of stacking small wins. Why? Because they add up. If you guys are with me so far, let me see you write I dig in the chats. Could you guys be on any more fire? You guys are blowing up. I see a bunch of you tag me on Instagram just being on this call. I will restore every single one. You have my word. All right, great. Thomas, love it. All right, guys. So we have about 20 minutes left. At the end, I'm going to open up for some Q&A and some questions, which I think is very important. But I want to do a quick exercise with you guys and get deep for a second. All right. Here's the exercise. You can't change it if you can't see it. Right? So we have to cultivate awareness of our self-limiting beliefs or fear-based beliefs that are making us unhappy. It's time to, and guys, close your eyes, meditate, whatever's good for you. Take inventory of all that you believe that doesn't serve you. And now we can begin the transformation. We transform by changing the fear-based beliefs that make us suffer and reprogram our own mind by replacing them with new beliefs that end our emotional pain. Now, here's the kicker. It's always a kicker, right? By visiting the desert, right? We're going to meet our demons face to face because now we're acknowledging that they exist. We're not where we want to be because of this, or we can't get to that next level because of this, or I can't get out of my own way because of this. After we come back from that desert, we have an opportunity to transform our demons into our angels. So a limiting belief that I had when I first started speaking was that I don't have much experience as a public speaker. And I wasn't putting myself out there enough. I went to that desert, I acknowledged it. And I changed that belief to, I'm working really hard to improve my skill set, because it's a skill set, to be a much more captivating, energetic speaker. And I'm available for the biggest stages. I'm not saying I earned them yet, but I'm available. Within 2 months, they booked us to speak at Web Summit in Portugal in front of 80,000 people. Do you think that's a coincidence? No. I wasn't able to manifest anything because I had this limiting fear-based belief that I wasn't good enough. When I transformed that belief to I am worthy, I am improving, I am getting better, I give myself permission to be less than perfect. Right away, we started getting booked because my energy was different. And this is a vibrational universe. So I want you guys to take a minute right now in the chats and be radically vulnerable and transparent. And please understand, this is a safe place. You can ask Helena. This is a very safe space, guys. What is one limiting belief that is currently holding you back right now? Let's be brutally honest, because that's how we can change it and transform it right now. Change our life on this very call. Fear of flying, like literally in a plane. Public speaking. Burton, it's funny. I just found, Karen, it's funny. I'm not surprised that you guys are saying public speaking because I just found out that public speaking is the number one fear in America. It's crazy. So, Crystal, I'm an actress and plus size. They're not picking me because I'm plus size. That's one perspective. The other perspective is they're going to exactly pick you because you're plus size, because you are authentic, real, raw, and organic, and there is only one of you. And although you may not get a part for they're looking for someone else, you're going to be the perfect match for a different part where they're looking for exactly what you bring to the table. So let's double down on looking for parts that are in alignment with your greater strengths, right? And you're not for everybody, and that's okay. Tom, approaching businesses that need my expertise, but I can't sell me, only my talent. I'm so glad you brought that up, Tom, because this is a business after all, right? The Chamber of Commerce, we talk about business stuff. Just to be clear, guys, when it comes to selling, you know what people buy, right? They buy you. They buy your energy, your frequency. I can't tell you how many times people sign up to work with me, and it's not cheap. I'm just being honest. And they'll say, I don't even know exactly what you do, but it's contagious. I just want to be around it. I feel good when I'm around you, right? So it's true. You can have the best product, but if someone's not taking the time to build a rapport or sell themselves, you're going to go down the block and maybe even spend a little bit more on somebody that sells you a whole experience. So, Tom, I would write down a list of all the unique attributes that you personally possess and how you can illuminate and highlight those when you go to sell. The reality is this, brother. I imagine your business is awesome because you imagine expertise. You are doing the world a disservice if you don't let more people find out about your expertise and how you can help them. So let's put ourselves out there. Let's be outgoing. Let's double down on our uniqueness. And if you believe in your product, the way I imagine you do, the way I believe in me and CLS, if you showcase that with passion, people are going to want to get involved. There's just no way they can't. Hell yeah. That's great. Passion for engineering. Talk about, so it's technology and sculpt. Talk about it like it's your kid. And I don't know if you have a kid, I don't yet, but like imagine if it was, or your pet, or your spouse, or your partner, or your mom, or your dad. Speak about it with such passion and conviction because you know you believe in it and you can help them. That's what they really want to see. That's contagious. That'll change everything for you. 3 grandkids. Congratulations. Yeah. And Helene, I didn't forget about you. Fear of flying. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, what the fear is, but the reality is people fly all the time, every single day, every single moment. Airplanes taking off. I imagine you fear that there's a risk involved. There is, but you know what? This is a story for a different time. I got hit by a car last summer, hit and run. Speeding car ran right into me. Physically, I was unscathed. Mentally, I was a little shaken up. It just goes to show you there are risks with everything, but we can't live in fear because then we're giving in, right? So I would practice changing your association because that's what life is, stories and associations. Start attaching a pleasure to flying because it gets you somewhere faster. You can relax on the plane. There's always a risk at everything. But we can't choose. Not really what? We can't choose to let that fear dictate how we live. Well, if you listen to a good podcast or read a good book, before you know it, you'll land. Maybe you just try one flight just to challenge yourself, put yourself, do hard things, and you make it to the destination. You're like, that wasn't so bad. And I tried again. Yeah, I like that, Karen. Great. So here's the thing, guys. This is only half the exercise. The second half is this. Now that you all were just so courageous and vulnerable to drop the fears and limiting beliefs that you have, part two is, what more empowering belief are you willing to replace the limiting one with? So I'd like to start with you, Thomas. And Crystal. And Anthony. What new empowering belief can you choose instead of the fear and limiting one that you've been operating out of? You have to pick something. And even Helena. If you don't choose a different one, the limiting one's just going to haunt you forever. And also, we can't just remove the disempowering one. We have to actually implement a new one. So if we're going to uninstall software in our hard drive, we have to reinstall a productive, more positive one. But the only way this will work is if you select one. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be amazing right now. Love that, Wayne. Wayne, it was great to connect. Hope to connect to you after. Hell yeah, Karen. Yes, there you go, Karen. Yes, Thomas. See, this is empowering. You get me excited. How much better does that feel to lean into that? You are an awesome speaker. You are going to get better. You are going to Toastmasters. You are going to practice. You are going to not care so much what other people think and just do your best. Thomas, willing to put yourself in a position to confront the underestimated self. It's great. Guys, at every moment, we have an opportunity to choose. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but if you're willing to put in the work, you will change your associations and stories and you will live a completely different life. And I speak from contrast. I didn't think there was more out there for me. Once I realized that I could choose a different story and remove that limiting belief with, I've been successful at other things. I could become successful at this. I'm willing to put in the work. And also, if God forbid it doesn't work, at least I'm going to give it my best shot and I can live with that. And look what happened in 2 years' time. One of the biggest speakers and podcasts on the planet. And I'm not better than anyone else. I've just allowed myself to choose a different belief and really bet on myself. Hell yeah, Anthony. To be excited to start something new, to challenge myself and leap towards it. Yes. Bang. Yes. Allison, yes. You guys are on fire. You guys are making me emotional right now. I love this. I see you guys keep tagging on Instagram, and I love it. I'm going to repost every single one. Yes, I love you guys. Straight up. All right, so we're going to end it with this, and I want to open up for a little bit of Q&A as we always do. All right. Guys, last week, I signed up for this place. Many of you know it if you're in New York, called Soho House. Soho House is basically like, it's like a country club for entrepreneurs. It is a very expensive fee and you for the year, and you're basically around like people that are thinking really big, creatives and doing big things. Why did I sign up for it? Because I know when I'm around that type of energy and frequency, it facilitates my growth and helps me level up. Right? Because when I'm around people that are doing big, epic things and they just think differently, it accelerates my growth. So I challenge you guys to really think over the weekend, what rooms can you get in? Obviously, you're in a great one right now with Helena in the chamber. Where else can you stretch yourself so that you can begin to think and play even bigger? It opens up our creativity, helps you earn more money and think, play bigger, and vibrate on a different level. Guys, your life is not a joke, right? None of this awesome high vibe elevation stuff that we talked about today means anything if we don't execute. Accountability is important, but you got to cultivate grit and you got to execute. It's your life, guys. I'm so proud of you with the belief that you just acknowledged that you need to change. And then you actually said which ones you're going to change them to. And if you continue to tap into that, your life's going to become super abundant. You're going to start manifesting things immediately. And remember, you don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are able to become and sustain vibrationally. So if you're not loving the results that you're getting, it means that emotionally, although you may want to make $10 million, you're still operating from a place of scarcity. And we got to go in and change the emotions by creating and choosing different beliefs. All right, guys, it's not the goal or the destination. It's who we become in the process. And I challenge you to take so much love, joy, and pride in changing these new beliefs, thinking and playing bigger, and falling in love with the process. You dig? I want to open up for some Q&A, guys. If you're anything like me, you probably have some questions. The only way you lose is if you don't ask. And then also we have a very special gift for you guys, totally free, just a toolkit on how to cultivate confidence on command. I'm going to put in the chat as well. Love that, Karen. Devora, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Best way to get accountability is to work with a mentor or coach. For example, there's some people that want to work out, but let's just call it what it is. You have the type of personality where you're not going to go unless you have a trainer. That's okay, because you know yourself. Get a trainer, right? So either get in groups or surround yourself with people that can hold you accountable. Sometimes that's all we need to really begin to execute and get to that next level. And if you never worked with someone before, I highly suggest it. Could only help. Love that, Anthony. How do you combat the fear that you are older than your peers in the same job? You might be older, but you might also be wiser. You might also be more experienced. Who cares? Right? So what if you're older than your peers? I'm younger than all my peers in the personal development space, like Tony Robbins and all them. Most of them are in their 50s. So what? I'm hungry. I'm of integrity. I'm doing the right things, the best of my ability. I'm striving to become that alter ego every single day. And most importantly, Anthony, I do my best to make an impact and contribute. And that's what I can control, is how I show up. Whether or not the people around me are 30 or 70, it's really none of my business. All I can do is do the best that I can so I can make the biggest impact. And if I fall in love with that, and that's my why and my mission, I can hold my head high. Any other questions, guys? Ask, pick my brain, go nuts, make me feel weird. Allison, great one. How do you keep a positive mindset if you're not able to leave a depleting work environment yet? Keyword there, yet. So it looks to me like you know that you're here for something a little bit more and you're on your way, right? Now, I know many people deal with this, so I think it's a beautiful question. If you don't love the environment that you're in and you can't change it today, but you're working on it, I challenge you to show up and fall in love and be the best that you can at that job, even though you don't love it, it's temporary. Because when you do that, right, you end up vibing high and you're energetic. And somehow it looks like you love your job, even though you don't. Somehow that's going to lead to another opportunity. Someone's going to see you. Wow, you're energetic, you're passionate. I'd love for you to work for me, or I have an offer for you, or I have someone you should meet. So understand that it's just temporary. You mentioned the word yet, and fall in love with all the tasks that you can do to the best of your ability today and then tomorrow. But keep this in mind. If you just said that this is only, you're not leaving the job yet, when do you plan on leaving it by? I would give yourself a timeline so you can hold yourself accountable. I'm leaving by then. In the meantime, I'm going to give this thing everything I got. Okay. Helena, how to measure success? And I'm going to get to Helena. That's a great question. So it depends what you consider to be successful, right? So for example, I was making a lot of money on Wall Street before I started CLS, but I wasn't successful. I know that now. Why? Because I wasn't happy, right? How many really rich people do you know that are miserable? So just to be clear, let me tell you what success is not. Success is not dominating in just one area. So you want to make a commitment to be successful in your career, in your relationships, in your faith, and in your fitness. Those are just four that come to mind right now. You might be a seven-figure earner, but are you a seven-figure dad? Are you a seven-figure husband? Right? So things to think about. So it's not just career and money that make you successful. Do you love what you do? And if you don't love what you do for a career, I would highly suggest creating a career that you do love. Because if you don't love what you do, it's hard to say you're going to love your life, because we spend a third of our life in our career. And it's never too late. You can reinvent. Great question. Okay, Helena, give 3 takeaways from making a positive pivot in your business. Number 1, realize that what made you successful in your other business was not the business, it was you. And those same attributes are transferable. Number 2, find something that you love. Find something that you could really put your energy into and your soul. And when you make that pivot, it'll shorten the gap or the learning curve, because you'll be so excited about it. And then a third takeaway for making a positive pivot in your business: play chess. As Wayne Gretzky once said, he doesn't skate to where the puck is. He skates to where the puck's going to be. So when you're going to make that pivot, look at the environment, look at the news, look what's going on. What's something really advantageous for you to step into that's going to be popular for the next 10 years? And then sink your teeth into that. You dig? All right, guys, this was so much fun. I love you guys. I'm so thankful. You guys showed up today big time, so energetically, so engaging, so interactive. And in my opinion, that's what makes the most meaningful and hopefully impactful conversations and so forth. And I love you all. And I hope that you guys join the texting community. Helena, take it away.
Oh my God, that was so great. So great. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. You want, Craig, do you want to put your contact information in the chat real quick?
Yeah. And also you guys can check out our website, cultivatelastingsymphony.com, Instagram, Craig Siegel _CLS, the podcast, the CLS Experience. Definitely sign up for that. If it's not too much trouble, leave a 5-star review. And then definitely join the texting community. It's totally free. It's actually me on the phone. I could text you back. I know a lot of you did last time and joined our community and so forth. Just come say hello. And I'm sure Helena will have it in the notes and so forth. But I love you all.
Thank you so much, Craig. I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Yes.
Thank you. This was amazing. What a great way to lead into a weekend. And then also, you know what, just finish out your day with a great positive attitude. And hopefully, you know, there's a little shift and a little spring in your step today, especially that it's raining, so we could bring the sunshine in. So again, Craig, thank you so much. Alex, thank you for helping me coordinate this. And this will be, I'm going to try JetBlue. They have constant inflated. Someone's telling me about flying. So this is being recorded. If you want to go back to this, it will be on Chamber TV. Feel free to reach out to me for anything. Next week, we have our annual Black History Awards reception in person at the Hard Rock Cafe. If you haven't RSVP'd, we have the mayor as a keynote and some really fabulous awardees. So join us then. And then we there's a Build Expo for all you construction and engineering companies. There's Build Expo the first week of March. And take a look at our events, because we have a lot of in-person and online networking to help you grow your business. everyone have a great weekend. Stay safe, be well. And Craig, of course, thank you again.
We'll talk soon. Love you guys. Have a great weekend.
Bye, y'all.